Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're checking out SLATE and Ash Primaries strings. A very, very big day for me because I'm a huge SLATE and Ash fan. I think what they do in their own department in sample library development, they're really at the top of the game when it comes to that. Beautiful, cinematic, textural, artsy stuff, and all of those are praises in my book. Although some people can think artsy is not a good thing, but hopefully we're here to make art. At least I'm trying to do so myself. So yeah, wonderful, wonderful libraries. Pretty much love absolutely everything they've done so far. So very keen on jumping into this. In terms of what this is, let's go to the website and go through this. So again, I'm going in here pretty blind just to, first of all, experience it for myself in a sort of unobstructed way, and also share with you my true initial impressions of this. So I'm getting the vibes that Primaries is the name of like a series of instruments. I don't know if that's the case, but that's the vibe I'm getting here. So Primaries would be the series of libraries, and then this first installation here is strings. I don't know if that's true. We'll see. Right off the bat, we can see that this is 40% off. So I'm guessing that's the introductory pricing here. So remember to keep an eye on that in case you want to take advantage of that. Primary Strings explores solo strings as a fundamental color in the orchestral spectrum. It is a very fundamental color, yes. So, okay, solo strings. Notes behave like vibrant rays of light, merging together into abstract expressions of color and texture. So this is 179 euros. Chosen euros for me because it's probably geolocating my position. Damn you, SLATE and Ash, you know too much about me. So I'm a bit unsure whether this is the let's just go into the cart. Okay, so I think this is seems like it doesn't list a discount here. I think that would be, for the sake of clarity, would be good to have, would be good to see. Let me actually try and reset my mic here. Does it work better now? No, pretty much the same. So my trusty mic pre seems like it's a bit dying. So that sucks because I can't afford to buy a new one. Yeah, it would be nice to have the discount there separated so people have more clarity about what they are, paying for exactly. But yeah, 179, I'm guessing that's the discounted price. So 40% on top of that. And you do have bundles, so go look at those as well, in case they do offer you something that you want to take advantage of. Obviously, SLATE and Ash libraries are not, the cheapest around. These are very boutique things. And again, I'm not going to comment on whether that's a good value proposition for you or not. I think it comes very much down to what is it giving you and what are you getting out of it, either professionally, or not. Certainly, if you're doing music to any professional capacity, I'd say these are kind of a no-brainer if they allow you to create the type of music that you're creating, because obviously projects that pay themselves back pretty well, pretty fast, if if this tool allows you to do that project. Anyway, let's move on. New orchestral color with a focus on intricate performance, expanded techniques, and spatial exploration. Primary Strings blends solo performances into rich ensemble arrangements. cool. Spanning over 100 multi-sampled articulations. Damn. And immersed in a variety of distinct spatial environments. Each member of the string family, so we got bass, cello, viola, and violin. Makes sense. Good to have all of those on board. Provides a range of unique tones and experimental performance approaches. Yeah. So yeah, very lush language, as they're trying their best to, you know, give you an idea of what this does. So we've got some pictures here. As you can see, the design of the instrument, again, the interface, very minimal, very, I'm sure there's a word here, something in the design terminology, art era terminology that I don't remember. But yeah, very minimal, simplistic, but I love it personally. And once you get your bearings, especially, it's just super clean and simple. So seems like they did this at their Bristol studio. Articulations were recorded as concept-led explorations, each capturing a naturally unfolding performance in hyper detail, as opposed to detail. This is hyper detail. I guess it's, they're trying to communicate that the intent to be very specific, which I certainly here with SLATE and Ash stuff. Each articulation is a standalone exploration, a fluid organic encounter. Okay, space, silence, and human nuance play an active role in shaping each sound. Makes sense. Their walkthrough videos tend to be fantastic, so go and watch those for sure. I haven't done so because, again, I don't want to color my experience here too much. Also, what they do, which is really cool, is every recording was re-amplified through a series of iconic spaces and physical processes. So what they have here, they got 4 different locations / reverbs. Funkhaus, so this is studios in East Berlin. Cool. You can see a picture there. Looks pretty concrete-ish. So very nice. Real World. Then you have, oh, okay, so yeah, Real World is a studio. Natural acoustic environment. Its wood room offers a beautifully naturalistic resonance. Nice. And then we have EMT 140, which is this plate reverb. One of those classics. And then we have, of course, the Bricasti M7, which is one of those celebrated high-end reverb hardware units. There we go. So layered evolving textures, lyrical flowing melodic phrases, intervallic shifts, cinematic gestures, booming low tones, haunting atonal slides, percussive pizzicato swarms. So yeah, apparently we can expect a pretty wide range of different textures, tools. These tend to be like very like cinematic toolkit playgrounds, I guess would be the best way of putting it. They say space is deliberately built into each articulation, enabling phrases and dynamics to intertwine. I love this kind of stuff. Again, sampling doesn't just need to be a one note in one articulation played in a certain way. You can have movement there and, you know, all kinds of shifting things and etc. So, and that's exactly the kind of stuff I love about these libraries, because it gives you like a very different level of realism and liveliness and organicness. So very cool. Once you pair that with interesting choices in the sampling engine, and once that begins to pair with other notes, etc. Nice. The full capabilities of the articulations are realized in the expressions presets, enabling unparalleled emotive performance using the mod wheel. Okay. Each preset creates dynamic gestural movements in real time. Okay, cool. More than just sample playback. So you got spatial. So this is a spatial mixer, redefines a sound's environment with intuitive creative approach. in a virtual two-dimensional soundstage. Okay, interesting. Modules. 4 flexible input modules offer countless possibilities for transforming patch interactivity. Auto-generated scale quantized harmonies bring a new melodic dimension. Okay, interesting. Effects. 15 uniquely programmed macro effects. We've got layers. 2 uniquely programmable layers can be fused together. Nice. Expression. Assignable expression controls offer new ways to design and perform patches. Cool. And then you got our output, 4-band EQ, compressor, delay, reverb. Got it. A kaleidoscope of orchestral manipulation. Through a multitude of processing options, primary strings opens up avenues. Okay. Nice. And then you got a preset video here, which is probably closest to what we'll be doing today, but I'm sure these are quite different videos in many regards. Import your own samples. Hey, there we go. This is often something people keep asking when it comes to SLATE and Ash libraries. So amazing that it's in here. This just takes this to a whole different level, because I mean, I'd say these are worth it just, you know, on their own as well, but this just allows you to utilize the brilliance of these engines that they've built by just using your own samples. So fantastic. I think it makes the value proposition, you know, 3 times, 5 times better, greater. So fantastic. Up to 10 separate samples are supported simultaneously. 5 for each layer. Okay, that's pretty mad. Very cool. In context, then they have some audio examples here, which we cannot play. What's included? 106 individual articulations. That's a lot. 22 for bass, 25 for cello, 23 for viola, and 36 for violin. 80 expressions, 20 bass, 18. Okay, you can read just like that, but those are split relatively evenly between the instruments. 139 sound design presets, which is probably what we'll be focusing on today, just to give you an idea of what this sounds like. Technical specs: software, Contact Player, Contact 6.8.0 or higher, and free Contact Player is included as you buy this. System: Intel Max i5 or higher, Mac OS 15.15 Mac OS 10.15 or later, Apple Silicon Macs, Mac OS 11 or later, the latest update, and Windows 10 or 11, Intel Core i5 or equivalent CPU. Size: this is 63.5 gigs, so quite sizable. Not like a world-destroying size, but pretty hefty for, especially now that we know a bit about what's in there. You know, pretty sizable. I think SLATE and Ash libraries tend to be pretty sizable, and I think that's largely due to the fact that they simply sample so much. They do, like, I mean, in here we got 106 individual articulations. So that's a lot, and that's exactly what I love about what they do. They do, like, the sampling they do, and the performances or the playing that they actually sample are so unique and diverse, and I think much of the magic of these are baked into those. So it obviously will be increasing the library size. Personally, I don't care, because these are just so good. You know, when something becomes so good, you kind of don't care about the, you know, possible side effects. But yeah, I mean, for what's in here, it's, I'm sure not unreasonable. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people still need to take that into consideration when thinking about their hard drive footprint, as I have. Because now I have a drive for what I'm using right now, and the rest goes on other drives, because I possibly cannot have all of it in one drive unless I scale up to the next level of having like some crazy RAID system, whatever, which I cannot do. And then, yeah, a summary of the content again, and once again the price, $179. I think this is the intro price. And if you want to get all of the SLATE and Ash stuff, if you have 1.2 roughly K in euros, you can go and do that. It's a lot of money, but it's also a lot of fantastic sound at your disposal. All right, so what is the agenda for today? I'm going to try and play as many of those presets as possible. If we can go through all of them, that would be fantastic, but no promises yet, because I don't know how long that's going to take. In terms of tweaking, I'll only probably go, I can't say under the hood, but I'll probably tweak a do in case I find that that's something that I'm going to intuitively go for, like if I just want to adjust a sound. Otherwise, probably just going to demonstrate to you what this thing sounds like right out of the box. So that's really what we're trying to do here. If you want to go for a more technical video, or go to those articulations alone in detail, best to watch another video, and probably for the more technical stuff, watch the SLATE and Ash stuff. But I just want to give you an idea of what this sounds like out of the box through the presets, and through that we can hear the articulations in action, etc. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it's only PRIMARIES strings in action. I don't add any effects on top of it, nothing whatsoever. No EQ, no compression, no reverb, nothing. It's just the way this sounds out of the box. I have a limiter on my master bus to make the level sort of more consistent for this video, but it is set to be as transparent as possible. In case you hear any clipping of any sort, it's probably the limiter, and I'll probably let you know either way. But sometimes some sounds are a lot louder than others, so I will have to adjust that as we go through this. So bear with me as we do that. In terms of transparency, SLATE and Ash did send me this copy. So first of all, thank you to them for doing so. That being said, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. I haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do that. I think that covers our bases here. Let's take ourselves, or myself, into the DAW. When you open this up in your contact thingy-majingy, it simply opens up this NKI here, which then opens up what you see here right now. In this menu, we have an initialized patch, which is really nice to have right there, so you can just start building your own thing. We have expressions, which we touched on. I love this folder structure already, because it makes things so simple and easy. So you can go into the individual expressions. I love this because sometimes you just want to build from those, or you just want to use that without any, no sauce on top, if you will. And then we also have the individual articulations here. Sound design folder. I guess this is the one with the presets. I'm guessing, yeah, this looks pretty manageable. We'll start with the sound design here, and we'll then maybe do some snippets of individual articulation or expression. Again, no promises, because I don't know where this is going to go, but we'll start here, and let's just go in order of appearance. So sound design, arpeggiated, and this one is called accessing. That was the limiter. So I'm going to pull back my tempo here. Seems like a bit much for some of these. Was the limiter. Obviously some of the low frequencies are going to be a little more powerful than the rest of it, so liking that. That's blippy bloppy, kind of a bit lo-fi-ish. So I will say I'm not the biggest fan of like sequences, pre-made sort of things, because obviously I have to jump in there and tweak things to do what I want to do, but I'll demonstrate what these do for you. I would probably categorize these more as, like, again, put them in a sequenced folder instead of ARP, because in most cases I'd expect an ARP just to be doing an arpeggiated pattern. Obviously it's doing a pattern here, but it's, you know, melodic, doing like a melodic sequence. This sounds super cool. I think this showcases some of the SLATE and Ash brilliance in sound design. I mean, every bit of it is so intentional and detailed. That's what I love about what they do. Again, the sound on its own, kind of an interesting organic mechanic thing that sort of, you know, jumps and sort of, you know, slots in and out. And then you have this, all this effect treatment that is so detailed and intentional. And the imaging is beautiful. Yeah, the sense of space there is wonderful. Super cool. Yeah, the spatial aspect of this, the stereo image sense of space is super beautiful. That is limiter clipping. Pretty tough to find a good level here. That's beautiful. Again, the stereo field sense of space is beautiful. And then in the back, in the low frequencies, you have this bit of like not rumbling, not sort of like a boomy thing, but something in the, where is it actually? Let's have a look. I'll open my scope here. It's like 150 to 300 range. 150, 300. This kind of like weird low end stuff, but it's beautifully just like tonal enough to fit with this top end stuff or the higher mid stuff. So kind of beautifully how it works, the harmonics there is very, very pleasant sounding, but it's right on the edge, so it's like, oh, is this good or not? And it makes you pay attention. It's beautiful. So one of the things, I'm sure you can adjust this. This is where the learning curve of locating things with the interface comes into play. Because, let me reset this. I don't want to mess up the preset. I wish by default, because when you press your sustain pedal, it kind of like sustains the notes. And that, by the way, that was not the limiter kind of saturating or clipping. That's the internal stuff here. I wish by default I could just sustain the chords there. And then if I wanted to do that, as I understand it's an expressional thing, and it's actually really, really cool in certain parts. But primarily I would want to just sustain my notes so that I can play better as a shitty player. Again, that's a good example of the texture meeting the spatial stuff that SLATE and Ash do so well. That's really nice. Okay, did we go into... Yeah, we went into a different folder. So these ones are atmosphere. This is atomic. Yeah, I mean, they do these cinematic soundscapes. Like, I don't want to say hybridized, but you know, these kind of modern cinematic soundscapes so well. Like, instant, you know, cue creation there. So the thing is, I'm playing here, but we still have 2 octaves beyond that. So let's play this one here. Yeah, I can feel that in my balls, so that's how I know it's good. That's what he said. Yeah, insanely good stuff. This is just like they nailed this. What happened there? I seem to have lost consciousness for a moment. You know, as a dark ambient fan, I love this stuff. There it is again, the ball feeling. Yeah, beautiful. The noise by default is a bit much, so probably lessen that. But I understand that as a creative decision as well. But I mean, otherwise, just the detail with all of the saturation, the slight textural details, it's all so intentional, and it's also emotion evoking, very specifically taking me to a specific place. So with these, I don't have to, like, when I hear something interesting, I'm like, I immediately know what I want to do with it. And I love tools like that. And then you can start being a composer and go off and do your own thing. That was the limiter. Yeah, some of those low resonances, they can just be like 10 dB more than usual, so sorry for the surprises. That's stunning. Just that weird dinosaur train sound in the back there doing its own thing. It's beautiful, beautiful motion as well. Okay, this is very quiet, but it's beautiful. Let me get this up. Those are beautiful. I just love when you give it the right harmony and then it does those motions. Really good. All right, moving into the next folder. This one is keys. This one is Apophis. Gives me the Stargate vibes. Apophis. Maybe we should, sorry about that, pull back the limiter here a bit. Actually, one of those examples, something that can be super loud, and the level isn't even high. So one of those things where the effects are set so specifically that really, if I, like you saw, if I play something too fast, it's like, I'm not going to do that. I like that because it puts me in a certain mind frame. It's like I'm dealing with an instrument. It's like a violin can only do the things that a violin can theoretically do. Or a piano can do only the things that a piano can, within the laws of physics do. But here, it's kind of like I'm getting this preset and looking at it as an instrument. It's like, okay, what can you do? What can you not do? What can you produce and what can't you? And then you work with that, and that sparks new ideas. I love libraries, virtual instruments that do that. They give me presets that actually give me sort of instruments of their own. So I can be creative in relation to those restrictions. Great example of fantastic sound design. Again, everything is so intentional, very artistic, very precisely done, and it's such a evocative, beautifully sitting thing. Interesting. So it kind of has its own what's the word that I'm looking for? Not scale. Anyway, let's move on. Oh yeah. Sounds like something I'll like. Pull back the level a bit more here. blippy bloppy lo-fi stuff. Goofy NGL. It's kind of like going into that early sampling era in video game consoles. Really liking that. I don't know what it is. It's just like a psychological thing. Like, even if the sustain pedal didn't do anything, doesn't hold any notes, doesn't do anything, as long as I can just play it in between, you know, where I would use it, it gives me better timing. But also that octave jump was kind of throwing me off. And that's the end of my excuses for my shitty playing. Gnarly. Wow, that's really super quiet. Or is it? We've been fooled. They played us like a fiddle. Super interesting concept there. I would do a bit of tweaking for the levels, but super nice. Again, one of those, it sounds like I'm dealing with an instrument, so I kind of got to make it do the thing that it wants to do. Stunning. That's a really, really good one. Yeah, fun piece of kit. What I like about also SLATE and Ash is they really love distortion. So sometimes when the right thing comes across, you can hear like really distorted things, which is really nice. Sorry about that. This one is in the next folder, and this one is Biopulse, and the folder is Motion. Great example of why I love these things. This was very much like pushed to the very fringes with Spectres, which is the previous library that they released, which is like tiptoeing, dancing, throwing shit around at the very border of tonality in many cases. And I like tonal music, like primarily first and foremost, but the very edges of that is what I find to be fascinating. And I also love when harmony is explored, but through things like this. Like here, I'm not actually creating the major chord, but the harmonics, I think from the bass notes here, the harmonics generated through that distortion that is being used there creates the sense of the major. You get that note there? Yep. So that comes from here. Yep. So super cool stuff, but then that's like a more apparent example of that. But you could also do it in more subtle ways, where it's clearly here the resonances are being generated to create that sense of the major, even though it's not like being played as notes there. But there are more sort of subtle examples of that. Sometimes it's tiniest detail, harmonic, some throw off piece is doing a sense of a harmony. And really also here when I'm doing this cluster chord, it's like it's most of the time sounding really good, but then you have these, I think, some kind of a bend, slight pitch bend in the sample itself, I believe, and then that's creating a bit of a shift, and you're not sure what to make of that. So there's kind of like a glide there, which I don't like. I would prefer to not have that, but the other elements there are sort of shifting around, and it's kind of creating this almost like a micro melody in there. I love it, and it's creating this motion there, like a melody of its own. Stuff like that, just a huge fan, and I don't know any other company that does that through libraries. I think SLATE and Ash might be the only one that comes to mind, at least, primarily. And again, that one has a bit of that. For example, here, you're sort of shifting to that next semitone, but it's subtle enough. Okay, and again, that is sort of a more apparent example of what I'm trying to talk about. But it's a spectrum of pitch shifting around, and also working with all these effects and other elements that are creating a sense of a richer harmony. Again, a beautiful example of that sampled pattern of those strings that just combined with your building of harmony here, how those intertwine or play with one another. I love that dialogue, because then I can be, as a composer, like, oh, okay, that's what the player is doing, that's what the instrument is doing. How can I somehow harmonize that into something really, really interesting? crapping the limiter out. Still crapping the limiter out. A bit of a distortion there. Beautiful. Again, this sound makes me think in certain ways. It doesn't want to do certain things and does want to do certain things, and I kind of follow what it wants to do. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, really awesome stuff. Very nice. Very cool. Really beautiful. Again, like the subtlety here is where the magic is. Tiny nuances, tiny details, but they amount to so much emotion. They amount to so much intent and so much story. That's really the brilliance of what these people do at this company. That's the viscerality. Let's agree that's a word. Beautiful on that one. Super cool textures, details. Yeah, really awesome. Instant track inspiration there. Beautiful. Just a lovely kind of cloudy, grainy, hazy, soft, pillowy sound, and then that sort of warm blanket there in the mid. That's super nice. Some of those peaks are a lot louder than the rest. Really stunning. Again, a kind of pillowy, soft, nice sound. Going into the next folder. This one is pad, so pretty excited. Pretty dark stuff. I love how you can play with the shifts, and once you know where it's going, then you can harmonize in a very super interesting way. That was the limiter. So I took it into more, I started sparse, and I think it works better that way. I just couldn't help but follow that thing in my head. But yeah, stunning. Again, so like subtle, minimal, but yet it's so maximally evocative. It's incredible how they do that. Again, same thing. So minimal, so sparse, but the things that are in there are in such, they're there with such intent and such detail that it's just really incredible. Again, another example of a good opportunity to harmonize unconventionally. Same thing there. Really incredible. Yeah, incredible. Again, like, they understand that, like, broken, overbearing distortion so well. It's like, that's perfectly balanced. Just incredible. Stunning. Same thing. Yeah, that's insane. sound design ability. Yeah, I mean, these have been all like S tier, many of them in a row. Okay. Again, stellar use of distortion. We're getting some CPU clips there. Probably heard that. Beautiful sound. Yeah, the CPU taxation in the SLATE and ASH libraries is kind of like, in some cases, notorious that they are pretty heavy. When you do a lot of stuff and you do it very specifically, yeah, it's gonna tax your system. Again, it's kind of like in my books, not a non-issue, I wouldn't say. But again, like, my goal is to make the best music I can. Whatever I need to do to get there, I'll do it. I don't particularly care. Could they optimize that? I don't know. I don't know enough about that engineering side to comment on it. But yeah, it seems like when you do have a lot of effects going, that's going to be pretty taxing for your computer. These big reverbs. So, you know, who knows? But yeah, that's the first time I have heard this spike the CPU like that. So, and I haven't noticed anything special on my performance monitoring. So maybe that's a good sign that this is that the optimization is getting better, that they're less heavy. Again, one of those really cool harmonics based things. beautiful sound, very airy. Like sometimes when you play strings in a certain way, there's a tremendous sense of air, almost to the degree of listening to like a woodwind instrument. There's a lot of like textural overlap there. So really love it. That was super puffy, airy, warm, kind of, you know, a bit sort of broken sounding. Super cool, cinematic, dark, a bit distressing. Super cool sound. Very nice. Again, very subtle, very warm. It's the tiny details that make it so good. I will say, I got a tweaked lower back, so if I'm sort of moving a bit weird, that's why. And it seems like I'm also getting a headache here, so if I make funny faces in agony, that's one of those two. Very nice. That is the limiter clipping over 7.5 dB. Fuck me, that's good. That's incredible. That's one of the most interesting sounds I've heard in a while. And it's, again, so much space, but so much detail. Everything is precisely engineered to be a certain way. It's so great. That's immediately going to be a track that I'm going to work on. I should also, like, commenting on the processing aspect, like some of these libraries being heavy. Again, looking at this seems to be far more easygoing than some of my previous experiences. But again, like, you got to think about what you're paying for. Like, a lot of this is you're paying for their sound design abilities, and talents and skills, and if they are to give you those just, you know, from hand to hand, then they have to give you a ready package like this, which means they have to do all of the steps of making the sound great. So if you're getting that, the price of that, if it means, okay, you're going to have a heavier time on your processing front, I'll be happy to take that trade any day of the week, because otherwise I wouldn't have access to that level of capability. If you can do it yourself, great, that's a different conversation. But for those of us who can't, I think it's again a different story. Again, beautiful, minimal, evocative. The limiter clipping. Again, a lot of fluctuations in these type of resonant pads, but you know, it is what it is. Beautiful sound. Again, it's just like so minimal, but there's simultaneously so much happening, so much detail in there. Going into the next folder, this is called Primary. No idea what primaries are, but I guess we'll find out. Couldn't quite make that work. So seems like a processed string section. Yeah, seems like these are sort of leading more clearly into the sound of a string section, but with spice, you know, with kind of a sound on top of that. Bit of limiter clipping there. Cool, so these seem to be using some of those sort of basic either articulations or expressions. I'm not sure. I'm guessing those are the expressions, probably, maybe. Super subtle, very quiet. Beautiful. Yeah, those fifth jumps were really nice. I mean, this is just stellar. Yeah, just I would probably make the background motion a bit less, but beautiful, beautiful pluck sound. Beautiful. Yeah, I love this kind of stuff. Just the fact that it's sampled, the motion is just makes it so real and engaging. Yeah, with these, I would probably separate the background swirling motions from the plucky stuff, or at least work on the levels quite a bit. beautiful soundstage, beautiful. Again, the sense of space here is just at a different level. Yeah, beautiful. Same thing here. Also, what's really notable is how nice the low end is. There's like this visceral rumble that you feel, but it's not overbearing in any other capacity. It's just really well done. That is the limiter crapping out. Super nice. Okay, that's a big difference. Let's move on. That was the limiter. Again, imaging beautiful, sense of space, really wonderful. Going into the last folder, this one is called Texture. Stunning, beautiful, perfect orchestral dark ambient. Beautiful, beautiful. And that's already very defined in terms of harmony, but sounds beautiful. Yeah, I think they've really... What they've done brilliantly is the reverb stuff. It's just so... It's just so good. The sense of space, the depth, the imaging is just goes to a whole different level here. What happened there? Yeah, really incredible stuff. Really incredible. Just everything about it coming together perfectly. Same thing here. It's brilliant. limiter for sure, in case you missed it. Yeah, I mean, I could have done so many walkaways, but I mean, that's just like, can't ask for anything more than that. Just instantaneous inspiration. You sync up with it, and you go like, it's beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful, and just like that pitch bend, have that in the performance itself, and then they do this so brilliantly. They take these beautiful performances with beautiful ideas about what to do, and then how they pair those together with one another, but also into this engine, and then just this is just brilliant. Yeah, incredible. Limiter shitting itself. Yeah, just having this huge amount of different, beautiful, dark, cinematic soundscapes at your disposal is pretty nuts. weird. I keep blacking out occasionally. It's a very rusty sounding room indeed. Let's move on to the next one. Weird how that keeps happening. It's really nice having those fifths and those slight motions in there, because it's just, you know, you can do really interesting harmony stuff with it. So, seems like we went through all the sound design presets. As we touched on, going into individual articulations, basically what I'm sure we've heard a lot of these in action, not all of them, but basically the sound design presets consist of either, you know, these or these expressions or articulations. So let me just do, for the sake of touching on these, just a couple from each, and we'll call it a day, because otherwise this is going to be a colossal demo, which it already is. But just so you get an idea, like listening to these sound design presets, we hear materials taken from the articulations and expressions, as I understand it, in these sound design patches. So these just kind of break it down to more, you know, individual simple components. But let's do brushing. So these are the articulations. We'll do a few of these. Bit of limiter clipping there. So as you can hear, it's like an individual articulation doing its thing. Let's do another one. Let's do soft waves 1. Yeah, so that's what it's doing. I also like this naming system, that it's more descriptive rather than trying to find some equivalent thing from music terminology, which just to me is inefficient in describing a lot of these things. But let's do groans. So yeah, these are super cool to use either individually if you're just composing your music this way, or throwing them in this engine and then starting to do weird stuff with it. Let's do from cello, Bo Ripples. It sounds like a guy. My name is Bo Ripples. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. You can see like this can take you to the other edge of the galaxy when you start combining these from one to another. You know, bass is doing something, cello is doing something. Let's do shutters. Did we do shutters on the bass? I don't know. So yeah, these are super cool to just use on their own. This is like a super package of things, because with many companies, just like an articulation section like this could be one product, and that'd be it. And if it sounded like this, it would be wonderful, and I'd be happy to buy it if I needed it, with a project. But that's just like one aspect. In addition, you got those expressions, which we'll go to, and then you have these sound design presets, which just take all of the SLATE and Ash sound design experience and production capacity and put them in there as well. So tremendously flexible. And at the price, what was it? We'll go look at it. Was it $179? I think so. Super appealing. I know that's easy to say when I didn't pay anything for this, but just with my experience of years and years and years of buying sample libraries and being able to compare all the different pricing systems, if I was, obviously you want to buy stuff that you want to write music with. That's what I always encourage people to do. So if you're like, oh, I want to write music with this, 179 euros. Okay, that's the intro price. It's going to be 40% more expensive later on. Fair enough. Still, like, this has so much in here. Like, look at how many different articulations you have and how flexible they are, how good they sound, how you compare them together, and then just this bonkers engine that sounds really good. Those reverbs are just really incredible. It seems like if you love this sound and you're immediately like, I want to write music with this, then to me it's a no-brainer type of a pricing, which is actually a really good thing, because a lot of SLATE and Ash libraries are pretty expensive. Okay, they are different, fair enough, so they can be bigger, and this is like maybe a bit smaller than some of them, but still there's so much in here. Like, you go into these libraries and it's like, feels like a infinite playground of things, which is really one of the big selling points of them as a whole, as a company, because you can buy great sample libraries from a lot of companies, but they run out of things to do pretty quickly. Like, you write an album mainly inspired by a library, and hey, that's a great return on your investment in my estimation. But then there's the level of libraries that can give you inspiration for years to come, maybe tens of years, without exaggeration. And the SLATE and Ash okay, it's called SLATE and Ash now. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. SLATE and Ash stuff really contends in that category. It's like you can open these up and find things you haven't heard before, and it's just the sheer volume of stuff and how well it's designed in terms of how it can be put together and how it can play with the engines that are involved. It's just it's a different level. They are really the lifetime value of them is multiples of like the typical library you'd just pick off the shelf. Okay, rant over. Let's do viola plucks. I mean, these alone sound so great. Like, this could just be a library doing this, and I'd be happy. Like, oh, I'll pay money for that because it sounds so nicely performed. Again, the imaging is just, the sense of space, really fantastic. Fantastic. Let's do another one from the violas. Let's do slow flutters. obviously comes with an asterisk. Figure out your harmonies in relation to the motion. Going into the violins, let's do detune gestures. And I love how this is extended to the low. It sounds so cohesive. Sounds like an actual instrument. Obviously, with a violin, doesn't actually go there in terms of range, but super good. Let's do into fifths. This is one of the ones that we definitely saw in the sound design ones. Yeah, I mean, that's just like stupid good. They're like exuding life and performance and soul. Just the whole, so well sampled, and with the sensibility of, okay, how is this gonna come together on a keyboard when someone like myself is here playing? Like how does it come alive? How does it sound so lifelike? Yeah, I mean, if this was just like strings like that with this amount of articulations alone and sounded this good, it's easily say worth the price, but it's, again, so much more. I just want to beat on that point, because like if you like the sound of this, it's just super, super impressive. Let's try the soft waves here, and also the fact that they've extended the range beyond what the violin actually does, and they've done it in a way that sounds great. It's just, again, expands the utility of this, you know, by multitudes. I don't know if that's even a sentence, but sure, let's go with that. It sounds so good. Let's do one last one from here. Sustained drift sounds cool. Wonderful. Again, not the best. I would not arrange it exactly like that, because that can get a bit tedious to the ear if you do the violins like that. And I would also automate the level for the higher violins, especially because they can get sort of a bit heavy on the ear, but otherwise beautiful. Going into expressions, just to get an idea of what these do. So these are like the mod wheel intensive ones. Let's see what looks good. Soft to bouncing bow. It sounds like a... Let's not go into that. Okay, that is freaking awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. That's again, it's like the articulations, but just an extra dimension taken to the next level. That's crazy good. And how it's so smooth, how it sounds so natural. Crazy. And again, look, like we've expanded this bass to this range. Obviously it's pitched there, but again, that gives like, because the more apparent the pitching becomes, it kind of delves into the synthetic realm. So again, it goes into a completely different territory, which again expands the utility of this. But not the best timing from my part, but you get the idea. That's that's insanely impressive. Let's do softer groans. That, I'm pretty sure that's an adult movie. Yeah, I love how it also, there's the parallel sample going on for that one, and when you fade into, or you guess it's probably like a crossfade of some sort, but maybe something else also, because it kind of keeps the original in there as well, so it kind of shifts spotlights almost. So it goes on its own terms, like wherever that sample may be going, it's like it's going to do the thing when stuff is happening there on the sample. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it brings a wonderful sense of kind of a natural flow to it and unpredictability that's super beautiful and natural sounding. As the cello movements to detune gestures. So yeah, with the expressions, seems like each instrument has its kind of the main thing from which it shifts into another thing. So these are movements. Viola has movements, violin has sustained to bouncing, and then bass has soft to something. I would guess they arrived at these based on testing. You know, that they are best. Also interesting to watch the expression curve move here. So when I'm here in the low end, it's barely moving at all. But once I get to the midpoint, then we're really like swinging hard. And also it moves super fast at the top end. So this is like a tiny detail they have probably beautifully arrived at based on testing. So just, you know, small things like that really help these things come alive. Bit of clipping there due to the limiter. I mean, that's just really stupid good. Like the basic sound of it is just beautiful, but then to have such fluent transition into that other thing is stunning. Let's pull back on the limiter because it is clipping. Yeah, that's really good. And I think it's brilliant that it's sort of the ratios change, but you maintain the core sound, and then this sort of, you know, the sound that you are crossing into sort of comes more prominent and then again fades back. So that's really, really nicely balanced. Let's do movements to sparse harmonics. Also, what I love about this is that it's immediately musically responsive. I feel like I'm in the realm of composing music or performing music also, because I'm hearing something and I'm moving something and I feel something, and I'm just in that moment doing nothing more than listening and responding and giving it something and something coming back. It's nothing more. And what more can we ask for? Because a lot of the time when you're working with a library, that loop isn't perfect like that. It's like, it feels a bit like you're going to have to do something technical to make something kind of right happen, and then, you know, it's this makes me feel very like it's what's the word that I'm looking for? It feels very sacred in a way. Like I imagine, like if I was makes me feel like I'm like in a prayer almost, like you are. And this is just simply due to the fact that like, to me, music is the closest thing to touching the transcendent that I have ever experienced. Maybe with the exception of like kids is the other thing, but it's yeah, this immediately puts you in that space. So that's an incredible accomplishment in my books. Were we still in cello? Okay, we were, apparently. Let's just do harmonic size. So this is viola. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love the language again here. Size, you immediately hear what they mean by that. It's like a yawn up, and like the resonance peaks, becomes quite intensive, and then it falls off. Beautiful use of language in that part here as well. Let's do harmonic whispers. Beautiful how it moves from like foreground to background. Again, the utility of that can be so varied, but beautiful imaging, beautiful sense of depth. Yeah, even if they weren't going too crazy on, like, I don't want to have a crazy different sound that I want to move into, you can take one of these sort of more subtle ones and create some varied movement in there, some change, some shifting. That's going to amount to huge differences in your sound. Going into violin, let's do finding harmonics. I'm trying to look for stuff we didn't touch on yet. Yeah, stunning. I love that kind of shifting into a different dimension. It's really, really awesome. Let's do long slides. I like those myself. Yeah, lovely things. And also, you don't obviously have to go all the way. That's what she said. But it's, yeah, you can just subtly introduce some shifting with these things. Beautiful. Sustain to plucks. Wonderful. Those plucks are so, you can just feel them kind of pop in front of your face. Let's do repeating bows. Super nice. They've really balanced that perfectly. It cannot be easy to try and find the balance of how those need to be combined, but I think they've been really smart about the curve of that and the distribution of it, how much you pull back the original one and how much you introduce the new one. Let's do one last one. Tonal flicks. Very cool. Again, that can be used more subtly or more dramatically, but brilliant. All right, I think that's it. All we have time for, which was a lot and hopefully plenty for you as well. How to summarize this? Well, I'm happy to say that I have not been negatively surprised whenever I go into looking at anything from SLATE and Ash. I have high expectations because, well, that's what they've done so far. And I'm happy to report, at least in my humble estimation, that this is really, really, really brilliant. Like I said, if this was nothing but, dare I say, even just the Articulations folder, this would be just a fantastic sounding kind of alternative, different sort of articulations giving library. And it plays so effortlessly and naturally, gives you so much textural, so many textural options that alone, it's debatable that it could be worth the price alone. Again, what's worth for you is that's a matter of, there's an subjective quality there, depending on what you're trying to do. First of all, are you making money with music? Then the matter of price becomes a very different conversation. And if you're not even, and you just want to write music that you want to write, what tools allow you to do that? And what is the price on that? And, you know, this is a conversation for a different time. But again, I find this to be like that alone. There's a solid case to be made for the fact that this amount of articulations for all of these different solo instruments and the way you can combine them together, that's already, which is, by the way, what a lot of companies do without anything added on top. I'd say paying certainly the intro price for this would be, you know, very much in the conversation. Then having the expressions here, which I absolutely love. I think this is probably one of my favorite aspects about this library. They're just so I can't really call it a crossfade because it's not a crossfade, but transitioning from the core sound into the alternative expression, I guess, is really, really superbly done. And it just brings more depth to the kind of typical articulation approach. And then you can obviously combine the expressions with the articulations as well. So it's incredibly useful. And like the thing is, if you like these type of string articulations, these type of string textures, these type of string expressions, then this is pretty much like a no-brainer in my book. But if you don't like the sound, don't subscribe to it, you don't use it, don't write music in that style, then obviously it's not going to be for you. But if it is, I think you're going to struggle to not find a reason. You're going to struggle to find a reason for you to not buy this, especially at the intro price, because it is pretty hefty. Now, all of this said, we haven't even touched on the sound design aspects, which were, again, really, really good. The texture folder, okay, so the best part about these ones were just the cinematic landscaping. Like, you press a key and you're instantly teleported into basically like playing a scene from a movie or a game or series in your mind. And you get their insane level of like productional vision and capability and skills and sound design skills just at your immediate disposal. So what's the price of that? Well, if you hired somebody to do that, it would be very pricey indeed. So just to have access to these in any way, shape, or form is a very strong argument for getting this, if again they are sounds that you like. But yeah, textures were amazing. Primary was like an interesting one because I felt like there were sort of more clearly like string sounding, but then like an additional sound layer shape on top of that. Very interesting pads. Again, favorites from those were the cinematic dark soundscapes, which I really like. Excuse me. Then you do have some of these kind of more motion things, like in the ARP, in the motion folder, etc. We had some other stuff elsewhere as well, but a lot of these kind of like grittier driving, more like, you know, pulses of sorts. Those can be really, really tremendous in creating like a cue and creating some tension. And again, what's so appealing to me about them is that they are so meticulously, you know, precise. There's no fluff in the SLATE and Nash stuff. I almost again said SLATE and ass, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't say that, which I just did. But the thing is, everything is so detailed and intentional. Like you can have this incredibly sparse sound, but everything about it is spot on. The source sound, the texture, the nature of it, how it pairs with the sense of space and the imaging is fantastic. All the textures, all the tiny details, it's so intentional, and because of that, it's so mature and instantly appealing. So that's really, like, again, one of the strong points of any of these libraries to me. So yeah, I guess that's how I summarize it. In terms of how this compares to other stuff that they have, that's really, I dread to make comparisons because I'm not sort of prepared to state that. Probably the most obvious closest one is Landforms, because it does have those strings in there as well. But still, I never once did I play this and feel like, oh, this is just kind of like a different Landforms. I feel like this has been its own thing throughout this whole demo. I didn't once to, you know, stop to think about, oh, this is just more of that, or this, like, the same. So that's a really good sign. I still haven't used Landforms as much as I would love to, simply because I've had projects in front of me that just can't use it there. But even so, I'm pretty familiar with it, and it's this is just different, and this is just sort of more when it comes to the string department. So if you have fears about that, well, I mean, hopefully you can listen to this and compare it to Landforms. We should actually do a video on that sometime. Have we done it? No, I don't think we have. So yeah, so I'm not fearful about that myself on that front. But yeah, so pretty stellar stuff. I don't know how long this video is. It's pretty bonkers long, but I think we're gonna call it there. If you have this at home or at your studio, let me know what you think, because this has been out for quite a few days now, I think. And as always, let me know certainly what you think of this video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.